Hello and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom, the last one for 2025 and the very first one for 2026. We have New Year's Eve hitting on Wednesday, with the first being Thursday, the 1st of January. So we are going to have a look at what the Oracle cards have to tell us for the week ahead. And we are... You know what? We're just going to lean into it. Now, for those of you that are curious about what 2026 has in store, make sure you watch my 2026 year ahead Oracle reading. So the yearly Oracle Wisdom. It's the first year that I've actually done one, and 2026 is going to be a wild ride. I do have the link posted below. Also, Anne and I, on our final show of 2025 for Gemini Rising, we had Peter Guthrie, who on Instagram is known as Ascend with Pete. And he was telling us all about the astrology for 2026. So the link for that show is below as well. So make sure you go and check those out so that you get a good read on what the year ahead is bringing. But we are going to narrow it down and see how 2025 is going out and how 2026 is going to begin. So we're starting with the Wisdom of the Oracle, Colette Baron-Reid. I do love this deck. Okay, so we've already got a couple. I just want a couple more cards to come out so we can... Okay. I think I want one more. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we start off with Milk and Honey, Here and Now, Unfinished Symphony, Exchanging Gifts, and New Life. So I ultimately feel like this is a positive week, and I know that these final couple of months of 2025 have been really challenging, or at least a lot has been bubbling up and coming to the surface. So with Milk and Honey, this is all about abundance in your life and being on the receiving end of tasting the sweeter things in life. So you are at a point where you are tasting the sweeter things in life. You have abundance in your life. And if you aren't able to see it, maybe you need to look a little bit harder, because there are moments in time where we can focus on the things that we don't have. We can focus on the things that aren't going right or the things that are challenging us. And we forget about all the wonderful things that we have in our life. Many, many years ago, maybe not many, but years ago, I had moved and I had quite a large home that I was living in. All of my stuff was there, nothing was in storage, and I loved it. But it was time to move, and to move to the location that I wanted to, I had to downsize. So I did that, and I remember selling so much of my stuff, and I only kept what I absolutely needed in terms of possessions, and then furniture. I thought I sold everything that I needed to sell, and I could keep the things that I had left. And then I moved into this new place, and it was a mess. It was such a schmozzle. And I looked around that first night and went, I don't know how I'm going to live here. This is just, it's impossible. Anyway, as the days passed and I unpacked and I moved things around, I had to sell more furniture. I had to get other things that I could replace, the pieces of furniture that were too big for the space that I was in. And I remember about 2 months later, I was sitting in that space and I looked around, and by this stage I had some personal possessions that were in storage. And I looked around and I realized I had everything that I needed. Every single thing that I needed was in that place. Everything that was in storage was cream on top of it, but I didn't need it. I didn't need it to function. I had a roof over my head. I was so happy in the location I was in, and letting go of all of that stuff that fit into the larger space was so incredibly freeing. And so, like I said, you're at a place in time where you are being blessed with gifts and you should be experiencing the sweeter things in life. And if you're focused on the negative, I would implore you to look a little deeper or a little further at what is going on for you, and making sure that you are really appreciating what is in front of you. So here and now, it's about being present in the moment this week. It's not about living in the past. It's not about living in the future. It is about being present with everything and everyone that is around you. And I think that's part of what is the abundance and the sweetness in life. Who are you surrounded with? Who do you have in your life that is bringing joy and ease and all the things that are good and feeding your soul? So be present, because if you're living with regret, you're living in the past. If you're living with anxiety, you're living in the future, and you're worrying about things that have not happened yet and may never happen. So be present, and that will help you enjoy all of the abundance that you have. Now, unfinished symphony. I think that there's probably something that you feel like you haven't had closure on, or there is something that is still waiting to be finished, but maybe there's not meant to be closure yet. And I realize as we wrap up a year and we're about to start a new one, and we're setting our intentions for the new year and what we would like to manifest in this space, it's nice to wrap everything up with a perfect little bow, but life isn't always that easy. So just, if there is something that you want to finish or you want closure on, if it's not happening, have patience. Have patience in the fact that that chapter is not closed. Have patience with the person if it involves somebody, and maybe the universe is just saying it's not finished yet. Then we have exchanging gifts. Now, this could be a literal thing. This is the week after Christmas, so it could be that there are literal gifts, but the reality is exchanging gifts in this deck represents you get what you put out to the universe. So again, if you're sitting in gratitude of milk and honey, you're in gratitude of the sweet things in life that you're experiencing, you're going to keep getting that back. And if you're putting that energy back out into the universe, that's what you're going to get back. If you're sitting there wallowing and feeling like you're really hard done by, that is what the universe is going to amplify and continue to give back to you. So exchanging of gifts is a beautiful, beautiful thing, because it is about focusing on what it is you're pushing out into the universe. And then we have new life. And to me, this is a perfect card to represent the beginning of a new year. It starts a new chapter. It allows us to feel like we have a clean slate. You know, the last year is behind us. The new year has finally begun, and we can start again. Now, I want to pull. Okay. Okay. So we have the never-ending story come out. And I think that this whole thing about exchanging gifts in new life, there is this possibility to sort of feel like this energy that we've been stuck in at the end of 2025 is not ending for us. And from the astrology, and I've spoken about this in previous weeks, we're waiting on the Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries. And really, I think until then, we're not getting a big shift or shake up in the energy. So it may feel like this energy is just continuing, but if you're embracing it and instead of going, oh my God, this sucks and poor me, if you are sitting in a space of, okay, I have to work through these things. So I've talked about the fact that all of us are experiencing this differently because it depends which part of our birth chart that it's hitting, and also our chart in relation to the people around us. But at the same time, if you've used this energy to look at the issues that are coming up and have the conversations that are required, I think this energy will not be nearly as heavy, and instead you'll be in this energy of new life. So I feel like this exchanging gifts, getting back what you put out into the universe. And if you have a look at these cards, right, they're essentially set up exactly the same way, but they have completely different energies. So this is the choice that you're making as to which energy you want to sit in. So for me, with all this stuff that has been brought up by the energies as we've finished out 2025, I took it as an opportunity to have the conversations that I needed to have. And some of them were uncomfortable. Some of them were about boundaries. Some of them were just me having to look at how I'm communicating the things that I need and how I'm moving through this world and how I am relating to the people that I care about. And in doing that, there has been a shift for the better. And so I believe that I'm sitting in a place of gratitude and acceptance and love and all of this. And so this is the energy that I'm hoping for. So be very careful about what you're focusing on. And then the final card from the Wisdom of the Oracle is Deeper Knowing. And this is the deeper part of us that already knows what it is we're meant to be doing. We already understand what is going on, and at a deeper cellular level or soul level, we know why this is happening. We understand the reason that this growth is needed. And I think that in order to get to the happy ending, I think we need to tap into that so that we understand why these challenges are presenting themselves and we move through. I think that it's a really positive reading, but it's also a reading where there's very much free will in the outcome of this week. So we're going to move on to the Wild Woman Rising deck, and this is by Angi Sullins. Okay. Interesting. I just want to pull one more. But there is a very definite message in these cards. Okay, yep. So the first card we have is Remember Who You Are. Then we have Know Yourself. And then we have Dig Deep. So there is a very, very, very clear message here. This comes down to how we respond to this week. Everything that I just said was spot on. And it is time for you to remember who you are and understand why these things are happening, understand the lessons that are being learned in this moment. And then you've got Know Yourself, meaning that you need to be clear in who you are, why you react the way you do. And maybe if part of this in having these awkward conversations is sort of saying to people, okay, this is why I respond this way. This is why I'm telling you that this has gone on. This is why, this is why, this is why. And the beauty in doing that is maybe that will help the people around you understand and make those conversations a little bit easier. And then Dig Deep, I think, is very much saying that if you're struggling with this, dig a little deeper, because the answers are there. You have the information, and this is what you have to get to remember. And when you're able to tap into all of that, again, there's the perfect start to the new year. And for me, I always like to start the year off. I mean, I don't drink or do anything else. So in terms of partying on New Year's Eve, it's not my thing. It's just, if that's you, great, have the best time. But for me, I like to start the year in the best possible place and sort of feed my soul, so that sets the tone for the year, versus when I was younger and I used to start it hungover and unable to move, and I would spend the whole 1st of January in bed recovering from what had gone on previously. So I just think if you make the choice this year to focus on the positives, focus on everything that you have going on, focus on understanding why these issues are coming up and what it is you're shifting and why it's shifting, you are going to have this really beautiful, beautiful start to the new year, and in a way that allows you to look back and go, okay, I understand why those challenges presented themselves. Now, knowing that we've had a lot going on and a lot thrown at us this last couple of months, I wanted to end this reading with the self-care wisdom cards. So we're going to pull 2. I keep saying the number 2. So we're going to pull 2 cards as to what we should be focusing on this week in terms of self-care and taking care of ourselves. Because when we're being told we have to dig deep and remember who we are and go into that, that can sometimes take a lot out of us. So, okay. Rituals. Steady yourself with simple rituals. Do the dishes, fold the laundry, water the plants, make a cup of tea. Let wisdom sneak up on you. I think by finding these rituals that serve you and put you in a good space and in a calm space and in a connected space, that is what's going to allow you to get to that deeper knowing and get the answers that you need. So for me, having a shower, and I probably shower too many times in a day, but for me, it's almost meditative in that it's where my mind goes blank. I'm able to tune everything else out. And many people get messages from me saying, I was just in the shower and I was thinking about you, which sounds so weird and so inappropriate. But thankfully, the people in my life understand what's going on for me, but it allows the messages and everything to flow. So it allows that wisdom to come to the surface and give me the information that I need. So make sure this week that you're doing those things that allow you to get into that space. And if it's drinking a cup of tea in the morning or sitting outside in the fresh air with the sun on your face or maybe the moon, do that so that you can get to that place and have that understanding of yourself and also your situation. So we're going to pull one more. Love. Love people. Love them with all your heart. Just be sure to love yourself first. So in this deeper knowing and in this know yourself and remember who you are and dig deep, make sure you're prioritizing yourself in all of this. And when you're taking care of yourself and you're able to look around and see all the things that are good for you and you're present. And I mean, I think this is also why Here and Now came out, because this is why this is so important, because when you're doing the ritual and taking care of yourself, being present and allowing the past and the present to fall away is what's also going to allow you to tap into that deeper knowing. And I think that when we are busy taking care of everybody else, when we are busy being challenged and dealing with the energies like we have been, I think that we stop focusing on ourselves, we stop prioritizing ourselves, and I also think we stop paying attention to the self-care and self-love that we require. And it's very difficult for other people to love us when we don't. So make sure you do that, and also have compassion for the people around you. Remember that these energies have been incredibly challenging, not just for you. I know it probably has been for you, but for everybody else around you, and possibly in different ways for them than it has been for you. And so have compassion, love them as they are and where they are. And if you can find that common ground, and when you have reconnected with yourself in terms of self-love, self-knowing, that deeper knowing and inner wisdom, it's going to become so much easier. It's going to become easier to connect with them from your point of view, but it's going to be easier for those people to feel like they can connect with you as well. So I hope that this reading resonated with some of you, if not all of you. I hope that you all have a happy and safe new year and a wonderful New Year's celebration. Celebrating the end of 2025, which I hope was a wonderful and successful year, even though we have all had to face challenging moments. And I hope that 2026 gets off to a bang in the best possible way. And here's to a wonderful year ahead.